Jon Stewart calls out MSNBC for biased reporting, igniting a nationwide debate. Jon Stewart, the comedian and former host of The Daily Show, has long been respected for his sharp wit and ability to call out hypocrisy across the political spectrum. In a recent interview, Stewart turned his critical gaze toward MSNBC, accusing the network of engaging in biased reporting that undermines public trust in the media. His remarks have since sparked a widespread debate about media accountability and the role of journalism in an increasingly polarized society. The moment that sparked the controversy. During an appearance on a popular podcast, Stewart was asked about the state of modern journalism and its impact on public discourse. While acknowledging the challenges faced by journalists in today's hyper-partisan environment, Stewart didn't hold back in his critique of cable news networks, specifically naming MSNBC. MSNBC is no better than Fox News when it comes to pushing a narrative, Stewart said bluntly. They just do it from the opposite end of the spectrum. It's not journalism. It's entertainment disguised as news. Stewart argued that networks like MSNBC have abandoned objective reporting in favor of sensationalism and partisan commentary designed to cater to their target audiences. They're not informing people, they're feeding them what they want to hear. That's not news. That's confirmation bias on a loop, he added. Stewart's critique of the media landscape. Stewart's critique wasn't limited to MSNBC. He lamented the state of journalism as a whole, arguing that many media outlets have prioritized ratings and revenue over truth and accountability. According to Stewart, this shift has led to an erosion of trust in the press, leaving the public more divided and less informed. Good journalism should challenge us, Stewart said. It should make us uncomfortable and force us to confront things we don't want to hear. But what we're getting instead is a series of echo chambers that only deepen the divide. He also pointed out that MSNBC's focus on vilifying conservative figures and amplifying progressive narratives has alienated moderate and conservative viewers, further polarizing the country. When you're constantly demonizing one side, you're not fostering understanding. You're creating enemies, Stewart argued. Public reaction. Stewart's comments quickly went viral, with reactions pouring in from across the political spectrum. Supporters praised him for his willingness to criticize both sides of the media landscape, arguing that his honesty is a breath of fresh air in an era of partisan bickering. Jon Stewart is one of the few voices willing to call out the hypocrisy on both sides, one Twitter user wrote. He's right. MSNBC is just as guilty of pushing bias as any other network. Others, however, were less enthusiastic. Critics accused Stewart of making false equivalencies and downplaying the differences between networks like MSNBC and Fox News. There's a huge difference between a network that amplifies conspiracy theories and one that holds people accountable, one media analyst argued. Stewart's comments ignore the nuances of the situation. The broader debate about media bias. Stewart's remarks have reignited a larger conversation about media bias and the role of journalism in a democratic society. While media outlets like MSNBC and Fox News are often criticized for their partisan leanings, the issue is far more complex than simply labeling one network as liberal and another as conservative. At the heart of the debate is the question of whether news organizations should strive for objectivity or embrace their ideological leanings. Critics of the current media landscape argue that the abandonment of objectivity has eroded public trust and contributed to the rise of misinformation. Journalism is supposed to be about seeking the truth, not pushing an agenda, said one professor of media studies. When news outlets become more focused on catering to their audiences than on reporting facts, they lose their credibility. On the other hand, defenders of partisan journalism argue that objectivity is an outdated ideal that doesn't reflect the realities of modern media. They contend that all news organizations have biases, and acknowledging those biases is more honest than pretending they don't exist. Hashtag Stewart's legacy of media criticism. Stewart's critique of MSNBC is consistent with his long history of holding the media accountable. During his time on The Daily Show, he frequently called out both conservative and liberal networks for their failures to live up to journalistic standards. One of his most memorable moments came in 2004 when he appeared on CNN's Crossfire and accused the hosts of contributing to the polarization of American politics. "You're hurting America," Stewart famously said, a statement that resonated with viewers and ultimately led to the cancellation of the show. In the years since, Stewart has continued to speak out about the media's role in shaping public opinion. While he left The Daily Show in 2015, his influence remains strong, and his recent comments about MSNBC show that he's still willing to challenge powerful institutions. Hashtag, 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 what comes next? The fallout from Stewart's comments is likely to continue as media organizations and viewers grapple with the implications of his critique. For MSNBC, the remarks may serve as a wake-up call to reevaluate their approach to news coverage and consider how they can regain the trust of a broader audience. For the public, Stewart's comments are a reminder of the importance of critical thinking and media literacy. In an era of 24/7 news cycles and endless streams of information, it's more important than ever for viewers to question the sources of their news and seek out diverse perspectives. Ultimately, Stewart's critique is a call to action, not just for the media but for everyone who consumes it. "We have to demand better," Stewart said. "Better journalism, better conversations, better everything. Otherwise, we're just spinning our wheels in the same old cycle of outrage and division."